We need to talk about Eckhart Tolle and his most misunderstood teaching, in my opinion. Now, Eckhart's had a hugely positive influence on my life, and I think there is one teaching above all else that he gives that is the most misunderstood, which is the teaching of acceptance. And if acceptance hasn't landed for you, it's probably because you're equating acceptance with passivity. So you can read Eckhart Tolle and you can hear a quote from him like, accept this moment as if you had chosen it. And you can hear that and think, do you mean just be passive and sit here and curl up in a ball and not do anything? And I just want to make this video just to show you how I see that teaching. So the passivity versus acceptance versus the normal way that people do things. This is the main point that people are not getting if they're not getting his teaching on acceptance. The main point is that acceptance isn't about outer acceptance. It's about inner acceptance. It's about where your action is coming from, not what the action particularly is. Non-acceptance is moving from denial, fear, or resistance, which are powerful motivational behavior movers. But acceptance is moving from skill, intelligence, and that's it. And the natural response is to feel resistance or pain. You're able to accept the moment to a deeper place where those motivations are not moving you anymore. So let me give an example. You go to the doctor and they give you a diagnosis for pneumonia. You got a terrible case of pneumonia, but it is curable if you pursue the lung specialist and a certain type of medication. I have no idea if this is how you cure pneumonia, by the way, but I know it's curable. You go to the doctor. The passivity approach, which is what most people think acceptance is, would be, oh no, I have pneumonia. I'm going to wait for my grandma to bring the medicine to my house and take it if she feeds it to me with a spoon, and hopefully I don't die. That's passivity. And notice that within passivity, there's hopelessness, there's fear, so you're still being motivated by those things. Now, on the other side of the equation, we have the normal resistance-motivated action. Resistance-motivated action is when the diagnosis gives you such a strong feeling of fight. Oh no, this can't be happening. Tension. I can't be happy or rest until this is finished and fixed. And from that emotion that we could call resistance, action comes. And that action looks like going to the right doctor's appointments, fighting through the sickness, getting the medication. And while that method will potentially end up with you being cured from your pneumonia, it also has a problem. Because what Eckhart is saying is that if that's how you use your fear, if that resistance is how you go about difficult parts of life, then it's not only going to be pneumonia. The resistance response, the fear response, is going to be driving other behaviors, potentially most of your behaviors in your daily life. And what that does is it creates more problems along the way, because you're acting from fear and from resistance. So you have to keep creating unpleasant feelings in order for you to be motivated. So then, the alternative, the acceptance approach. Acceptance is not about exterior acceptance. Someone who is fully accepting of the moment can look from the outside like they are in full fight, resistance, taking eager action to achieve a result. Difference is inside. The person who is deeply rooted in acceptance, when they get their diagnosis for pneumonia, maybe there's some initial reactions of fear, but the acceptance response is when you intuitively and naturally, and you can even do it in this moment watching this video, completely allow yourself to face what's happening. Completely see it for what it is. Completely let yourself drop all of the unnecessary, optional, noise and suffering that you didn't need to, bring with you, that you didn't need to generate. Because the doctor just handed you a diagnosis for pneumonia. He didn't hand you any suffering yet. The suffering is all stuff that you brought. So the acceptance is, don't bring it. And from there, we can more clearly see, because we're not bogged down by this frantic energy to fight and to be in denial. From there, you can get your pneumonia diagnosis and see the few things that you can do to intelligently remedy the situation. So you say, okay, the goal is health. It looks like I have pneumonia and I need to do these 3 things to get myself on the fastest track to treatment. What's in the way of me doing them? Nothing? Okay, good. Monday, do this one. Tuesday, this one. Wednesday, we'll do that one. That's acceptance. It's just coming from a profound place of, yes, this is happening. Yes, it's happening, and period. It's not, yes, this is happening, but oh no, this and that and this and that, and oh no, this is going to impact this, and all of that stuff is, we resist the temptation to grab at it. Oh no, it's going to destroy my birthday party that I planned, and XYZ. We just, all of those plan changes, all of that grief, if that comes, it's accepted too. So now you can see maybe that acceptance is a profoundly different way to live than the typical resistive mode. And if you're out there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, but if I were really to accept things that way, then I wouldn't do anything. All my motivation comes from resistance. And there's a validity to that. So I'm going to make another video about an acceptance meditation to bring you into a super deep acceptance of this moment right here. So stay tuned for that video. But I want you to think of a time where, if you do think that acceptance will bring passivity to you, think of a time where someone gave you some information, something changed that could reasonably provoke a stressed resistive response in you, but it didn't. You felt abnormally calm, collected, clear about the situation. Because this clarity is functioning in most people to an extent already. That is the coming from acceptance. If there's a fire drill in your building when you're having an important work conference, so like you're at work in the office, there's a fire drill, you're on an important meeting, you just leave the building. You don't freak out and say, oh no, this meeting, whatever. It's a total acceptance of everything. And then from that acceptance, you can productively face all of the consequences instead of generating more resistance out of them. Hopefully you can see how this works. Now, I probably should have said this at the beginning of the video, but if you've made it this far, then it's going to land extra hard, which is that acceptance isn't hard to do, because the acceptance doesn't come from an activity in your mind. The great part about acceptance is it's not the presence of acceptance, it's the absence of resistance. And resisting is something that the mental structure of you can do. The mental activitying that is your mind right now, so the interpretations you have of this video, that would be mental activitying, that can take the shape of resistance. And outside of that, outside of mental activitying, there isn't resistance already. The default state of things, the default state of you, the default state of reality as it is right now, is complete acceptance. And it's not even acceptance, it's just that there is no resistance there by default, unless it's manufactured by your sense of self. Thank you for watching. I hope that really helped. Let me know if it did in the comments. And if you want to go deeper, hit that subscribe button. Bye-bye.